What's up, everybody? Talking football back here again. Week 9. Season's flying by. And to be a Virginia Tech fan, this season gets even worse. Spiraling down a drain. Every week, it gets worse. Losing faith in my coaching staff. I've lost faith in my coaching staff, and bowl game is going to be real hard for my Hokies this year, and there's going to need to be some changes. I think speaking with friends and family back in Blacksburg, some contributors, some boosters, if you will, are not happy, and alumni are not happy. So I expect to see change coming up next year. Whether it be Frank leaving or something. I don't see a lot of safety on that team except for maybe Bud Foster, because for once your defense isn't killing it and everybody's required a down year, it happens, but our defense is always top 10 in the country, so you're allowed to have your 1 year. But enough of the Hokie bitches and gripes that have been the story of the 2015 season. Let's just recap a little bit on Week 8. We saw some top 10s fall. Once again, said it a couple weeks ago, it's going to be one of those college years where there might be 2 one-loss teams trying to sneak into the playoffs. I don't see 4 undefeated teams in the playoffs this year. It's just if Alabama runs it through right now, you know that they're going to be in it. The TCU, Baylor, Oklahoma, the Big 12 right now. That's going to be another spot right there. If you're talking about, can one slot all the way through with Russell of Baylor being out for the rest of the season with a big injury? There's going to be question marks there. But nevertheless, let's get into Week 8. Starting off last Thursday, California fell. UCLA, my pick. I did not go well last week. I went 5-5. Not a good look for anybody. Cal fell to UCLA. Pac-12 can't make up their minds who's going to be the best team in the conference, apparently. I mean, and besides that, Utah falls to USC. So, I picked Stanford to win the Pac-12 anyways. So, my pick's looking pretty good right now, but, who can ever decide come the end of the year if any of those teams are going to be it? I'm sticking with Stanford, but Utah falling to USC, Cal falling to UCLA on that Thursday night. I don't know what's going on. Florida State falls to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech needed to win. It was a big win. Florida State finally dropped a regular season game. It's the first time in, 3 years? I got a lot of Florida State friends. I don't like to talk bad about them. I really don't have any issues with Florida State. So, it's a tough break for them. That probably knocks them out of the playoff chase, especially losing to Georgia Tech. If it would have been Clemson, and somehow they ran it through, and Clemson fumbled, and they won the ACC championship, then that much of a hope, but it's not going to happen. So, nevertheless, speaking of Clemson beating up on Miami, causing them to fire Golden. Clemson's a real deal. Despite what people want to think, Clemson goes through this all the way with no losses. You have to put them in. You have to put them in the playoff talk. The ACC might not be the greatest competition, but there is still at least competition in the ACC. And, some of these teams, they might not be top 25, but they're still decent teams. So you can't just overlook them. And Alabama squeaks by Tennessee. Let's not get crazy about it. Nick Saban knows exactly what he's doing, and he's gonna tone that together so that they're ready to go. They're just getting ready for LSU coming up this weekend. And the big story, Russell out of Baylor is out for the year. So that's really going to hurt the Bears. I picked TCU to win the Big 12 anyways, so, it is what it is. That's it for the Week 8 wrap-up. Let's get into a little bit of some conference talk. All right, conferences haven't changed anywhere, okay? It's not going to change for the most part. The SEC's top. A couple teams are having down years. It is what it is. No conference in the country wants to play team for team with the SEC. Bottom line. That's all there is to it. I'll take that argument all day long. It's just not there. I know that we're past halfway, so I'll start making my conference picks, and I'll do it after I talk about each one real quick. The Pac-12, I still think, is the second best team in the country, even though teams keep beating teams. Maybe they just shows pure talent and lack of preparation week in and week out. What have you. Nevertheless, I still think the Pac-12 is it. As far as third place goes, it's a tie. The Big Ten and the Big 12. You have your top 4 teams in the conference on both sides, and then after that it falls to the floor. There's just not enough talent in the conference to rank one above the other. Okay, I mean, honestly, you talk about the top 4 powers in each conference. Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Fine. Okay, you take those out of the Big 12. And you can take Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, whatever. Throw Penn State in there. Okay, I don't think Oklahoma State is all that. They've got a little bit of a stretch coming up too. So it is what it is. Third place as far as those 2 go sticks there. And then last but not least, I mean, it's the ACC. That's all there is to it. Besides for Clemson, Florida State showing that they flopped. Florida State's still a good football team. I think Eric Golston was a little bit overrated. I think besides for his freshman year at Notre Dame, he's not that great. And maybe that showed. Maybe a lot of recruits. There's a lot of people recruited because he was from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And seeing how you're from the South and you weren't even really thought of, especially at USC or Clemson, maybe they saw something everybody else did. Maybe it shows that the amount of talent on that Notre Dame team was everything around him and not just him, because he's not that great. He wasn't that great last year or whatever last time in Notre Dame, and he's not all that fantastic in Florida State this year. They're still a good football team, but they're definitely not the best in the conference. Now, the winner of the ACC is going to be Clemson. There's no doubt about that. There's no arguments about that. After what they did to Miami, Dabo Swinney doing the whip and the whole nay-nay thing in the locker room, teams need that. Youth players need that. Virginia Tech needs a coach like that that's going to hype their players up. Nonetheless, Clemson is ready. I mean, that's all there is to it. And Dabo Swinney has these boys ready to go. And they've got Florida State coming up soon. And that's going to be a big one. It's Jimbo Fisher against Dabo. Do I think that the Seminoles can do it? No, at all, actually. I would probably say that Clemson's going to beat them by double digits. But as far as the SEC goes, it's Alabama, and you can't argue against that. Fine, Ole Miss beat them. And once again, fine, Ole Miss beat them. 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. Ole Miss played a spectacular game. Alabama still barely lost that game with 5 turnovers, okay? Yes, they squeaked against Tennessee. Were they getting ready for LSU? Absolutely, because they're going to be playing probably the greatest tailback in the past 25 years, if not ever, in college football. Okay, well, maybe not ever, because I like Ricky Williams a lot. But, come on, it's Leonard Fournette. Nevertheless, Bama and the SEC. Pac-12, sticking to my guns. I'm sticking to Stanford. They're the only ones that, besides for week 1, they're the ones that are playing consistent right now. You have Utah falling to USC because USC's losing to Washington. You have Cal losing to UCLA because UCLA is dropping games over here. I mean, maybe it's just maybe it's bad preparation from coaching. USC getting their, what's his name, getting fired. So who knows? Who knows? I think it's lack of preparation. But nevertheless, there's a lot of talent in the Pac-12. But I'm still sticking with my guns. I'm sticking with Stanford. As far as the Big Ten goes, hate it or love it, Michigan State, whatever, Michigan, whatever, Penn State, whatever, Wisconsin, no. It's Ohio State, and they finally are starting T.J. Barrett. They should have been starting T.J. Barrett. I said that last week. Cardale Jones, fine, dude. You played a phenomenal playoff run, whatever. It's T.J. Barrett's turn. In the Big 12, sticking with it. I'm sticking TCU. With Baylor losing their quarterback, granted, I'm sure they recruited someone that's fantastic. I haven't really looked into that as much as I probably should before my mouth. But TCU out of the Big 12. That's it for conferences. Let's get into the Heisman list and then on to the Week 9 picks. All right, this is going to be quick and short because it's pretty simple. Leonard Fournette is still your front runner. Might not have had the best game in the world last week. Offense just went a different direction, which is fine, which means they're growing, which means they're going to be that much better come the rest of the year and then into next year because they're so young. This team, LSU, is so young. LSU will win the SEC next year. I don't think they're going to get it this year, okay? Leonard Fournette's number 1. Ezekiel Elliott at Ohio State just stays consistent. You know, he's not making a lot of noise because maybe everybody's just kind of like, damn, dude, you're still doing it. Shocking. Trayvon Boykin from TCU because they're still undefeated. You know, he's staying healthy. And then Derrick Henry from Alabama. Whether they're squeaking by Tennessee or not, Derrick Henry is still a beast. He's still going to be a top 3 pick or a top 3-round pick in the draft. It is what it is. You know, there's your Heisman list. It hasn't changed. The whole country knows what that lineup is. Let's get into Week 9 real quick. Okay, Week 9 picks. Start off with Thursday. We got a good one Thursday. As far as the ACC goes, Pitt UNC. UNC's kind of digging in there. They want to make some more noise, and they have to beat Pittsburgh. That's all there is to it. Pitt has 1 loss. They're kind of controlling their own destiny right now in the Coastal as far as the ACC goes. Not saying that they're the best team in the ACC, but you know that is what it is. I'm taking Pitt in this one. I think it's going to be a close one. It's a Thursday night game. Thursday night games are always something special to other teams. So I'm taking Pitt. The other Thursday night game to watch is the West Virginia TCU. West Virginia tends to beat somebody that they're not supposed to. They're that team that might not be the greatest, but they always seem to have an upset win. This week, no, it ain't going to happen. TV's going to take care of business. As always, my favorites to win the Pac-12, TCU over West Virginia. And then Saturday, kicking off the big tailgate, Georgia, Florida. This game hasn't had the implications that it used to in the past 3-4 years. It is what it is. With Nick Chubb out, I'm taking Florida. I think that they're just all around the better team. I think that Georgia's still with Lambert at the helm. Kind of a question mark, you know. Chubb's gone. It is what it is. Florida over Georgia down there in Jacksonville. Miami, Duke. Now, Miami losing Al Golden. Can they do the same thing as USC did last week, losing a coach? I mean, are they going to bounce back like that? Miami has the talent. There's a lot of talent there. They're playing Duke. Duke went into 4 OTs with Virginia Tech. Should they have won the game? Probably not, because Virginia Tech's fucking coaches suck. And, you know, it is what it is. Some bad coaching calls. Virginia Tech probably should have won the game like 3-4 times, but they didn't. It is what it is. Duke won. They got 1 loss. So Duke's still around. Whatever. I'm taking Miami. I think they're going to bounce back with an interim coach. I think that a lot of the alums, a lot of the former Miami players will have made enough phone calls to get this team riled up. Miami over Duke. We got Notre Dame Temple, a top 25 battle. Whatever. Notre Dame all day. There's not even anything to talk about here. Just the caliber of players, you have to take Notre Dame. UCLA Cal, or USC Cal. Taking the Golden Bears on this one. Taking Berkeley. I think they golf, you know, he's lost 2 now. Dropped 1 to Utah, and he dropped 1 to the Trojans of Southern Cal. I think that California can edge this one. USC has a lot of talent, but so does California. You know, and it's a battle. So it's an in-state battle. Should be fun to watch, but I'm going to stick with my guns and say California. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. Now, I know Texas Tech ran with TCU, and I keep picking Texas Tech to win over and over and over and over, and they don't. But I'm going to again. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. Put some points on the board, Red Raiders, and win me some money. Come on, let's get an upset. Texas Tech over Oklahoma State. UVA, Georgia Tech. Now, no one really cares about this one. Who gives a shit? Whatever. But nevertheless, as far as bowl game implications go, Georgia Tech needs it, and Virginia is dying to need it. Virginia's got a tough stretch as far as conference games go, which a lot of people are saying, whatever, it's ACC, but it's fine because they got to win the ACC games to get to a bowl game. It's not going to happen. Georgia Tech is bouncing back. They have confidence now after the Florida State game. Georgia Tech can still make a bowl game. I'm taking Georgia Tech to beat Virginia. And I usually pick 10 games, so I just went off on a whim. Penn State, Illinois. You know, Penn State kind of in and out this year. Illinois, a lot better than people think. Still sticking with Hackenberg, Penn State over Illinois. And Stanford and Washington State. Now, Washington State can put up points, but Stanford is the all-around team. Okay, they have the defense, they have the offense, and the crazy catch last week with the guy reaching around his, his back, whatever. Friggin' great, good stuff. So I'm going to take Stanford over Washington State. that pretty much sums it up. Week 9 is coming up. College football is almost over. So, depression days are getting ready to start. At least we got a little bit of the NFL. Everybody have a safe weekend. Enjoy college football. And I'll see you back here next week.